Hello, and welcome to another episode of Drawing on Fridays, the Landon Huber Experience Show. So, we are going to be finishing this piece here. In this episode, you'll see me take this drawing and fine-tune it, and then at the end, you'll see the finished inks, which I do off camera, because I like to take my time with that and not bang it out in a half hour. So here we go. If you want to see the genesis of this piece, go back to episode 6, I believe, and or just go in the link in the description of this video, and you'll see me when I originally drew this picture. So, alright, first thing I usually do is set my timer to half an hour. I just noticed I have an ink bottle that I need to put my cap back on. Hold on. Alright. Set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Starting now.
And let's begin. So, what am I going to do here? So you might hear cars whizzing by or kids playing outside, but that's okay because I wanted it to be, well, I wanted the air. It's winter time in Arizona, so it's kind of nice to have the fresh air coming in. But yeah, sometimes it's nice to hear the sounds of the outside world. Guess it depends on where you live. But this kind of adds to the atmosphere of the video. So yeah, let's see here. What is the goal of any picture? Well, there's the original goal of the artist, which, when all is said and done, should just be to do something for the enjoyment of doing it. However, artists, like everybody, need to make a living, and so sometimes you do things for money. But a lot of wise people say that if you can find a way to make a living doing something you love, you will be happy. Not everybody gets to do that, and it's unfortunate. But that could be a whole nother topic, couldn't it? So, but yeah, that should be your main primary reason why you make art, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't love doing it, find something else to do. Because you're not going to stick to it. Now, some people might argue that making a job out of something you love to do could be a negative in a way that it would become like your job. And I guess to each his own. But, you know, if you really love doing it, then that means you're the kind of person that just wants to do it all the time. And, you know, in this world, it's kind of hard to do something all the time unless you are making some money from it. So but these drawings I'm working on here are for me more like a kind of trying to do the best of both worlds. I'm doing them because I love to do them, but I'm also doing them to try to make some money. So, you know. On that note, you guys should definitely go and check out my Etsy shop, which is landonhuberart.etsy.com, because I have a lot of these the finished versions of these illustrations over there, and I have like oil paintings, I have drawings, I have all sorts of things, and I put a lot of work into them. And you're not going to find them anywhere else because they are my art and they're only available on my Etsy shop. So, yeah, you guys should definitely head over there. landonhuberart.etsy.com. Check them out. And by the time by the time you're watching this episode, there has already been a previous, I think, 17 episodes. I think this is going to be episode 18. Sometimes I get that wrong. But yeah, you guys should definitely go back and watch some of the other episodes of Drawing on Fridays. I've mentioned this also in a few previous episodes that when I get to, I'm going to be putting these shows out weekly. It's a goal of mine to be putting them out weekly until I get to episode 26. And then at that point, I'm going to be taking a break for a while. Not a break from creating, just a break from putting out weekly videos of Drawing on Fridays. Because that, in my mind, thinking of it in kind of the same way that the sitcoms used to be put out in seasons, even though this isn't a sitcom, but format-wise, I'm kind of follow something similar by putting out about 26 episodes, and then that's going to be season 1 of Drawing on Fridays, and then after a while, a hiatus, I'll be back again with new episodes for season 2 at an undisclosed future date. But yeah, and another reason why it's important to love what you do if you're going to be an artist is because I think that shows in the work itself. If you really just hate it, you know, how are you gonna make good work? You know what I mean? It's hard enough to make good work even when you love it, but if you kind of have this kind of attitude of, oh man, this sucks, or something like that, yeah, I think that's gonna show in the art. So you see, I'm kind of just going in and defining these shapes a little bit more, you know. That's really all I'm doing here, because the basic idea has already been laid out. in the previous episode of when I did the original drawing. And then there's just like these little fine-tuning things that happen, you know. Might be a little bit high off the page there. Come down a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see all this all right. I try to, you know, get a good camera angle so you guys can see what's going on. Hopefully that's it. You'll see in a lot of other drawing videos, you know, sometimes the camera will be at this weird angle over here or something, and you know, it's because it's difficult to get the camera in a place that's gonna be where you can see what's going on, but that the artist themselves isn't gonna be obscuring the process with his head or his hand or whatever, what have you may. Yeah. Is that correct English? I don't know. You can see this finger here kind of comes out a little bit distorted looking, and I find sometimes by making kind of skinnier hands. Oh, did I just give away a secret? Actually, sometimes that looks pretty cool, you know. Keeping in mind the proportions of things. You know, if you actually look at like your fingers and I'm a kind of a bigger guy too, but like on a normal human being, like look at the size of their fingers, they're very small, you know. Fingers and toes and things. So I don't always have totally realistic proportions in my art, but kind of learned by just doing it a while what I think looks good or not, you know. Of course, the proportions of the things that you draw must be dictated by the concept, you know. For instance, it's fun to draw big muscly guys, right? And a lot of people like to do that because it looks cool, and you know, boys you know, like young girls a lot of times and, you know, there's always exceptions to the rule and everything, but by and large, females like to draw females, and males like to draw males. It's something to do with I don't know. I don't want to get too far into all that, but something to do with the psychology of people, I think, at a younger age. But I think if you did like a test and like took a census, you would find out that that's kind of true. Yeah, like I said, there's always exceptions to the rule, so I'm more or less just generalizing, but I'm not Freud, but Freud might know, I don't know. But yeah, back to my original point. If you draw just like big, huge, muscly guys, well, if you're drawing the Incredible Hulk or Pitt or, you know, one of these other kind of characters that look like that, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. But you know, you're gonna have to step away from that if you want to draw females, or if you want to draw even like what I'm drawing here, kind of like zombies or you know, things from the crypt, because that's not what they're supposed to look like. So don't want to get in the habit of sort of drawing the same thing over and over. To make a long story short, it's good to open up your capabilities as much as you can. Alright, so he's getting pretty close there. He's getting closer. Yeah, I'm also, I talk about this in every episode probably. I'm also a musician, so anybody who's stumbled on this YouTube channel, if you think what I'm doing here is slightly cool, head over and check out my music, guys. It's pretty cool. I put out an album called Creature of Emotion. You can check it out on this YouTube channel. And I was in a group called Robots in the Zone a few years back, and we made some really awesome albums that's kind of like synthesizes elements of rock and rap together. I was in a group called Enclave Soul with a great guitarist friend of mine who goes by Verge, the guitarist. And so yeah, go check out a lot of stuff out. Put out a really funny and cool album called the Hole in the Wall Gang LP, which has a lot of fun, cool, funny, humorous songs that I wrote and created with my cousin. Now I'm going to go in here and start kind of getting this guy over here a little bit more squared away. And then, because this picture has multiple characters, it's I'm drawing as fast as I can move my pencil right now without totally ruining this thing. I need somebody put my sharpener. I'm gonna sharpen my pencil real quick here. Alright. And if you can't see what I'm doing here, you know, you can always just kind of, a lot of people watch videos these days on their phones. You can kind of just zoom in a bit. Oh, I forgot to mention, you guys should go check out my art process videos. They're on this YouTube channel as well. And those are really cool. And they're more like fully edited, almost like movies, where you kind of see in the space of a half hour an entire piece being created from the start to the finish most of the time. Some of them just show the coloring process of something that was previously inked, but nonetheless they're put together in more of like a filmic way, but they're edited with music and all that stuff. They take more time to put together, but it's kind of, whereas these are more live, those ones are pretty cool because they're these, you know. I got 9 of them made so far. At some point in the future, down the line, I want to put some more out. But you can't do everything at once, can you? Yeah, making videos of art creation is kind of a strange thing to think of if you think about it, you know. It's like people, I guess there's videos of everything now, but there's like, everybody wants to watch how something's made, I guess. But yeah, it is a strange thing to kind of make videos of art creation, you know? Why do that? See, I'm kind of going in there and fine-tuning that hand a little bit. Make those little shapes just a bit more fine-tuned. Falling out there. Little strands of something. Alright. I'm just kind of winging it with what I'm talking about today, guys. I'm not going to drop a huge big old dialogue on y'all. But if you don't like listening to me talk, you could always just turn off the camera and just watch my hand moving. But yeah, back to what I was talking about kind of with watching art videos, because they're not really meant, I mean, watching art being made, it's kind of like watching somebody build a roof or something, or, you know, put a block wall in. It's, you know, it's a work. It's just like bit by bit of a job that needs to be done to get to this sort of, look at those hairs going out. Okay, the wind's just coming in and sometimes I make little sound effects because it helps me feel what I'm doing a little bit more. Squint. Kind of try to make it come alive in my mind, you know. I forget what I was talking about again. I find as I'm getting older, guys, my brain is, if it jumps from one topic to the next, and then I'll totally forget what I was talking about before that. And for all you young people out there, if you don't know it yet, you got 2 options in life. One is to get older, and one is to die. So pick one. No, you should definitely pick get older, because I just saw an interesting quote by David Bowie where he said getting older, I'm going to paraphrase, but it was something to the effect of getting older, you become the person, or the good thing about getting older is you become the person you always should have been. I think it was something to that effect, and I thought that was interesting. David Bowie, he was a pretty amazing artist. I can say that much. I think the first time in my age group, the first time I ever saw him, though, it was probably when I was a kid, when I watched him playing the Goblin King in that infamous movie, The Labyrinth, which was a really cool movie. I love Jim Henson. I'm a big Jim Henson fan. He's a very creative person and his team. I love what he did with the Ninja Turtles too. Which I did an oil painting of Leonardo and made an art process video of that. And that video is 45 minutes. So I edited that whole thing, and it's 45 minutes of editing. And so not only was making the oil painting a process, which anybody who's made an oil painting could tell you, but then having to edit 45 minutes of a video together on top of that was another process. So it's kind of like filmmaking and art making all wrapped up into one big burrito. Which I do like burritos. Love burritos. Well, getting a little bit more fine-tuned. What's the time clock say? Oh, 4.5 minutes left. And we're almost getting to the end of the old episode here. And the final sort of details I really figure out in the inking. This is as much as I figure it out about this far, maybe sometimes even a little farther in the penciling stage, and then sort of the final details and things are really sort of figured out in the final pencils. Just indicating a little bit of craters back there. Some lines that kind of create wind movement. These cloudy things here are really pretty rough. I'm not gonna have enough time in this episode to really fine tune those on camera. But I don't know. Kind of leave them a little bit loose. Sometimes it's more interesting to leave certain areas of the picture loose because it creates energy and movement in the piece. Whereas if you kind of get too carried away with little details here and there, and tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening some more, you end up with a very boring piece by the end. But by keeping things loose and not only tightening up here and there, it kind of creates a nicer balance in the piece. This ghoul coming from the grave. Pretty fun piece, I think. This guy kind of creeping up behind. I don't really like that foot. I just make it a little bit shorter there. I don't know. Figure that out. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Believe it or not, when I'm sitting here working on art by myself, I'm usually not talking to myself. So it's kind of like an interesting challenge. Hey guys, I don't know what's going on. with the audio. So it happened on the last video, it's happened again on this video, but my audio recording was sort of shut off because I record the audio separately on these to give you a better sound on the videos, and for no reason at all the last couple have been shutting off in the middle of the recording, and I have no idea why that's happening. So I'll have to do a little bit of research. So I just have to go to the camera audio then for the remainder of the videos, which isn't terrible because it's kind of nice and quiet around here, but you know, it'd be better if the stinking audio would work the whole time. But yeah, thanks for watching. You can see this piece is getting pretty close now, and to be honest, like, I could keep noodling this thing for another couple hours, and maybe off camera I will noodle it a bit more. But I think this kind of shows you a good idea of what I would call just the kind of fine-tuning process when I take a rough piece and then I work on it to get it to this, and then the next stage of inking, which you will see coming up next. So I'm going to go ahead and call the show right there, guys. Thank you for watching, and coming up next is the final inks of this piece, the ghoul emerging from the grave. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.